Tech Hub! I am Mr. Frank and absolutely excited and grateful that you are joining me in this meeting edition. Oh yeah! Before we move on, remember to keep social distancing, to wash your hands regularly and protect you and your loved ones from the deadly coronavirus. Now, let's get to business. Tech Hub aims to bring innovative ideas from Nigerians to the rest of the world. Technology is changing the way we live on a daily basis, and with the outbreak of the COVID-19, man's independence on technology through innovative products have become undeniable and unavoidable. It does ring true that the rest of the world, especially Asia, Europe, and Americas, have left Africa behind when it comes to tech. This leaves a bad taste in the mouth of Africans, especially for the young innovators, because the continent has now become a dumping ground for all things tech. Now, this leaves little or no space for innovators out of Africa to birth their ideas and thrive. Now, the reason is simple. No one tells the stories like the developed nations tell the stories of their own. It is time that changes, beginning from Nigeria, known as the Giant of Africa. We promise to bring you rich, engaging, and highly sought-after content that will spoil you innovatively to contribute to making Nigeria, and indeed the continent, the next tech giant of the world, as predicted by experts. Well, later on the show, Taiyo Olyssende, the founder of Mind the Gap, will join me virtually to talk about how he started an innovation hub that has empowered thousands of youth in Nigeria, who in turn empowers others. Before then, here is a news roundup in the world of tech.
There are indications that the plans to make Lagos a smart city will become a reality. I mean, Lagos could become the first smart city in Africa if everything goes as planned. These plans were revealed at a gathering of policymakers, tech enthusiasts, and Lagos residents at the Art of Technology 2.0, which held on Thursday and Friday. The vice president, who attended virtually, believes that tech can be used to solve Nigeria's long-lasting problems.
Given that this is a conclave of policymakers and various stakeholders in the tech ecosystem, I'd like to stress that developmental governance in the 21st century is about continuously deploying innovative solutions against our most complex challenges. In 2018, Business Day, that's the newspaper, estimated that the average commuter in Lagos spends 30 hours in traffic weekly. These are useful man hours that can add up to high productivity if spent differently. How can we deploy smart traffic sensors and devices to manage traffic in Lagos? These are the sort of problems to which those of us gathered here today can apply our minds. Technology can be a leveler, closing gaps in our society, such as the rural-urban divide, and bridging gaps in access to social services and broadening financial inclusion.
We've developed what we call a smart city agenda. And in that, our smart city agenda, we've looked at our 6 pillars of economic growth, right? And it was not out of place that the 3rd pillar there talked about education and technology, right? For us to not only be a smart city, we need to indeed have an agenda that speaks to all of the realities of what we're talking about.
That is so cool. A Lagos without traffic. I can't wait to see that. Moving on, the man who advises the governor on innovation matters shares the master plan with everyone.
Those pillars were access, infrastructure, talent, and funding. These were the 4 areas that a lot of innovators told us that, look, if we are able to solve a lot of challenges under these pillars, then we think we can get somewhere. And so when you look at the access pillar, one of the key challenges we had in our innovation and technology market was the lack of data. Not just for making data available, but for solution providers to be able to build fit-for-purpose products to solve local challenges. The next pillar is infrastructure. We've been talking a lot about our 6,000 kilometers of fiber optic cable. right? And of course, that is a marquee project for us. I mean, even to provide the data, we need the infrastructure to be able to, for so many things, for so many solutions to sit on. Next, we have talent. To be able to, manage a lot of the things, a lot of the infrastructure we are going to put in place, we need the talent to be able to manage these things.
That part where he mentions talent caught my attention. Only people who understand innovation can help maintain it, right? Absolutely. That was also on the front burner at the conference.
Technology is just an enabler. Data is just a tool. What is that end? And you see, today as a nation, we have been where we are for so many years, going in circles because we do not have a clear destination. We do not have a clear direction. We do not have a clear intention. You know, I always like to ask this question: what is the vision of Nigeria? Because when you ask these questions, it makes us actually think, to ask ourselves, why do we then need data? Why do we then need to deploy technology? In the future of Lagos, what is it going to be like? How are we ensuring that we are preparing the young people for that future? In fact, what is that future going to be like? What are the jobs we want to see? Data tells us today that in the next 10 years, over 80% of the jobs have not been invented. So when we look back 10 years ago, over 40% of the jobs we have today were not in existence. There were no jobs, around the tech industry as we have today, where you say social media manager, a content developer. My very good friend here, most of the jobs that they create from their company were not in existence 10 years ago. So what are we educating our young people for the future of work? I think these are very intentional conversations that we should have.
Well, we've got a long way to go and the journey has started. It can only work if the policymakers stick to their plans and the rest of us collaborate. Telephone subscribers must submit their National Identification Number, also known as NIN, to their network providers on or before 30th December 2020. This directive is coming from the National Communications Commission, who had earlier suspended new SIM registration by network operators. They said this move will help improve the integrity and transparency of the SIM registration process, but the House of Representatives is pushing for the deadline to be extended to early next year. How do they expect to confirm the NIN of over 200 million mobile phone subscribers in 2 weeks? I guess time will tell. I'm Anthony Abraham. Back to you, Mercy.
Wow! Did you hear the part where the governor of Lagos spoke about the dream of making Lagos a mega city? We see that in Japan, Hong Kong, South Korea, and even in Europe. It can happen here in Lagos, and I want to see it happen. I'm sure you want to see that happen too, right? Okay, it's time to hear from Taiyo Olyssende, the founder of Mind the Gap initiative. You see, Taiyo is an awesome person. He started a company that uses innovative method of teaching people to be innovative, using digital tools, and at the point of maturity, these same students return to their community to teach other people digital skills. I mean, it's more like a beautiful cycle of Nigerian youth teaching digital skills without end. We will hear a story and a little bit more. Due to social distancing rule, we had the conversation virtually. Listen to this.
Thank you so much for agreeing to do this interview with me. And thank you for being my first guest. What I want us to look at is how to empower the youth digitally for the kind of future that Nigeria wants. In a scale of 1 to 100, where would you put Nigeria youth when it comes to embracing technology? And explain why you are putting Nigeria in that category.
I can say to you boldly that Nigerian youth are, and I'm not talking about both in locally and in the urban area and the rural area. Nigerian youth are digital natives. Nigerian youth have so embraced technology that the kind of internet penetration that is being reported every quarter in this country by NCC, it's only comparable to no other place all over the world. The percentage of new people coming online every day, joining whether through learning, whether through entertainment, whether through all manners of platform, what they do there, the percentage has been so awesome. So in terms of internet embrace, Nigerian youth have embraced internet heavily. In terms of what they do on the internet, I mean, there can be a reason to actually now think about what do they spend time to do on the internet. Nigerians are perhaps, according to some international television station, I believe I can mention CNN. CNN reported that Nigerians are actually one of the most vibrant, group of youths globally on Twitter. And that is why, the Twitter war and every single thing that Nigeria youth chose to do via Twitter in terms of communication will always get traction. So in terms of technology, yes, we have embraced it. In terms of what we do with technology, in terms of even the innovation of technology, Nigerian youth have also embraced it in terms of, all kinds of things that Nigerian youth are doing right now to try and move forward in terms of their job, in terms of their career. But given the volume of what we have in Nigeria, there's still a lot of room for improvement. So, on a scale of 1 to 100, because of the kind of expectations we have, I will give us slightly just almost close to 15, more like about 45%. Not in terms of, when you talk about almost close to about 64 million Nigerian youths that we have today, we can say almost close to, about 70% of them are online. But what they do online in terms of the use of technology is also something that we need to use a different matrix. We've not yet fully embraced it like a tool for solving problem. There's a lot of things happening, but when you do in the aggregate of if you look at Lagos, you can see a lot. You can see, there's a lot of products and a lot of services, a lot of people actually aggregating on platforms and addressing societal problems. A lot of people embracing, education via online platform. But we go beyond that into all the nooks and crannies. There's a lot more that we need to do. So I will give us still below 40 in terms of using technology to solve problems. Because what we have in terms of education, agriculture, food, health, there's a lot more that we can still do. So I'm not sure we have yet fully embraced it the way we should embrace it. Though we are online, but we're not doing so much in terms of using technology, innovation, artificial intelligence, and all forms of everything that technology talks about. We're not using it sufficiently to actually solve our problem. And that's why I'm still in business.
I like that. For me, embracing technology is not just about having a smartphone, having a digital device. It is how are we using that technology for the good of the community? In what ways can we use technology to solve some of the problems you have seen in our society? Because this is going to help some people to begin to think in the right direction. So I can use technology to solve this particular issue. Share with us.
I think virtually there is no problem in this country today that you cannot use technology to solve. Because when you talk about using technology to solve a problem, I mean, it's very simple. What we are saying basically is, like we normally do in an organization, there are 4 things that comes to problem solving. Number 1 is you need to build content. Content that you can use to aggregate people. And when you aggregate people, then you actually build community. When you build community of interest, then you begin to build communication. And through that one, you begin to actually solve real problem, or in whether community, whether it's health, whether it is education, whether it's agriculture. Those 4 models, content, community, communication, can lead to commerce. So for example, in the area of education right now, we know that education can never remain the same again after COVID. You understand? So there are right now so many applications and so many software that are coming on the mainstream. And for example, we are doing a program with a leading university in Nigeria about education technology. And we are doing an aggregation of all the various applications that have come forth, or even the ones that have been existing before that are not being well used. And we realize that there's so much more to do. Why you think, right now education has been taken over by technology? When you talk of public schools in Nigeria, there are so many of these young people that are still not fully embraced it. When you talk about health, we're talking about, e-health, we're talking about people leveraging what is now called virtual doctor. There's so much that we can do to actually come up with solutions to preventive health. People can learn how to be preventively healthy, and they can actually have access to quality doctor from all over the world, just from the comfort of their mobile phone. People can do basic assessment health-wise just from the comfort of their mobile phone. So there's virtually everything, every single thing, health, education, even jobs. People can have access to quality jobs if only they can actually make the most of that technology they have in their hands. Virtually, there is nothing. Even if you want to build a building today, when you want to actually, I mean, there are 3D printers all over this country right now. It will amaze you. There are so, I mean, somebody showed me a cloth that is just built. All the buttons were actually made by 3D buttons. They were all 3D buttons. And he was able to design those buttons in record time. Of course, it's still very expensive. So people are doing beads like the one I'm wearing, and they are using 3D technology to make their own customized, beads. So there's a lot that we can do, virtually every single thing that we can do, from innovation to acceleration to even, improving the quality of what you're doing. There is virtually anything you are doing. I mean, I used a petrol station somewhere in Abuja sometimes last week, and I realized that petrol station is fully automated. And I'm like, wow, in this country, so for me, it's virtually there's nothing you can do with technology.
Spot on, absolutely spot on. There is nothing that you cannot do with technology. Let's talk about education, because you really dealt with the issue of education. Is the education system in Nigeria, from kindergarten to university, is the education system in Nigeria preparing our students to become digitalized adults? If not, what can both the government, the administrators, the school administrators, and parents do so that our kids, when they graduate from university after going through the 6334 system of education, they are able to compete favorably with the American, with the counterparts in the UK, with the counterparts in Finland, even with their counterparts somewhere in even Ghana? Just us.
Right now, the educational system is in two levels. We have the private, we have the public. For the private, we've gone full blast. For private, they're not looking back. And everywhere you turn to, there are some products, some services people are developing every day. And so the private education are doing very well. But we still have a lot to do in the public sector. And that is why we won't say it's a good day yet. Because until we're able to get the public sector to really embrace technology wholesale in a way that it can be quite, scalable, I don't think we can call it a date yet. And that is where the opportunities are for people like myself and a whole lot of other young people out there who have seen the opportunity that it's not enough to complain about what government can do, because what has happened right now is technology is taking education out of the control of government. Unfortunately, it's a good news, because to try to continue to wait for government anywhere in the world will not work. But right now, everybody has realized that education is my right. As a parent, I have to give this education to my children. People are going to go to any length to acquire the technology that is required to make this happen. Like, for example, I'm saying to a couple of young people that we are working with, if you take a community and you take your laptop and you begin to create what is called, neighborhood study group, take that laptop, take that device to go and create a learning opportunity for the young people and the youth of the underserved and underprivileged. That is the job on its own, right? So in terms of education, trust me, education is opening up the space and is making learning a lot more easier. I have two boys. My boys would rather learn at home than go to school now, right? Because they have control of their learning. They can actually pause and play and rewind their teacher and go back to what they didn't understand. These are things you can't do when you're in class. You can't say, excuse me, sir, rewind. They can rewind the video, and it's the same thing that teacher is telling them in school, for crying out loud. You understand? If they didn't get it, they can listen to it again, and that is learning. And this is something we have been talking about a long time ago, but I guess COVID has made it happen finally by force. On Saturday, we are going to be training over 40,000 youths nationwide. That can only happen because technology has made it easy. 40,000 of them are going to be hearing the same thing which means technology has come to democratize learning. It's left for the individual right now who fail to actually plug into it.
The government has a lot of role in playing to ensure that the nation succeed in the digital economy plans that it has for the country. We like it or not, the government has a huge role to play here. What can be done by the government? One, to digitize processes. And how can these young people who are trying as much as possible to bring about innovative solutions to challenges, how can they be encouraged to ensure that the tech ecosystem in Nigeria grows and becomes something that the world would want to even come to Nigeria to get a solution for their problems?
The foundation of that master plan is the digital scale. Before you start talking about digital finance, digital enterprise, digital tools, digital infrastructure. So we have taken it upon ourselves to say to ourselves, we are going to resource this master plan. We're not waiting and folding hand for government to be the one to come and do it. The same thing is to go when it comes to digital infrastructure. The young people we are training, we are telling them which part of this master plan do you want to plug into? Do you want to be an infrastructure developer? I have a young man who is based in the UK right now, who is saying everything to me, sir, because of what I've learned, I want to bring this technology of internet to Nigeria in a very easy, cheap, and very efficient way. It's for everybody to realize that the vault that we are calling this digital is so loaded with opportunity, and everybody just needs to find a way of plugging into it. Yes, government can do a lot. If government can actually bring money, because there are some aspects of technology that government is better off to actually be the one that will spoil it on. But a lot of Nigerians are not even waiting for that. You see a whole lot of investors and investment platforms springing up every day. Even recently, the government launched virtually almost every program government is launching in recent time. Every one of them is technology inclined. Government is doing, and they can do more, but don't let's wait for government. This is the time for us to seize the opportunity and build. The value chain of the digital ecosystem requires that those of us, we must learn to do what is called backward and forward integration if you want to do well. It's okay, who do I need to do well? Who needs me to do well? So when you realize that, that is where you found yourself, you need to invest in organizations that will help you to do well, and also invest in organizations that if they do well, you will do well. So that is the ecosystem we need to build right now. And I believe it's time for us to also work together as we connect to digital vaults.
I mean, what you said is pretty apt. What you said, the last thing you just said, it preaches the law of partnership. We need to collaborate with each other. The people need to collaborate with the government, and the government need to collaborate with the people. The people also need to collaborate with the people to be able to move Nigeria towards achieving the digital economy that the government has planned for it.
Interesting, right? Nigeria can become a nation built on innovation if only we collaborate. Although the government and policy shapers have a role to play, we don't have to wait for them to do it all. First, by learning digital skills. Now, if you do not have these digital skills yet, it is not too late. Reach out to me at SilverbirdNews24 on social media using the hashtag TechHub, or reach me at MercyFrank on Twitter and at MeMercyFrank on Instagram and Facebook, and I will show you how. It has been an interesting one. Thank you again for watching. Remember to keep social distancing, wash your hands regularly, and protect you and your loved ones from the deadly coronavirus. I am MercyFrank. See you again in the next edition.
Your fears.